Hi everyone, happy Monday and welcome back. I hope you had a great weekend. Today we're going to be talking about new fragrance releases in our weekly rendition of Smash or Pass, a series where we talk about what's new in fragrance and evaluate whether or not we want to purchase certain items or not. This is a series that I do here every single Monday, and it's a great opportunity to kind of catch up, start the week off in a positive way, and really look through all the releases because there have been so many new releases, especially lately. I know I've been saying that constantly, but truly there are so many new releases. There is a lot to get through. But if this is your first time on this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I love fragrances. I talk about them here every weekday, Monday through Friday, 5 videos a week. I also publish additional content on TikTok and Instagram under the username ANECHKAFRAGRANCES. Yes, I'm posting more on Instagram. I haven't been posting on there very much, but I'm trying to get back into it. So if you're interested, definitely do give me a follow. But I also do have a podcast called The Fragrance Report. This is a podcast where I talk about mostly fragrance history. It's just been a niche that I've been super interested in. And I think a lot of you guys are really enjoying that podcast as well. I publish a new episode every Wednesday. And I publish it on Spotify, but then I also publish the video version of it here on YouTube as well. So you can kind of watch between the two systems or listen depending on what your preference is. And I will say, since last week, I did adjust my microphone settings. I recently got a new microphone and I did ask for y'all's feedback. And I think some of you were saying that it's a little bit too echoey. So I did fix that. So let me know if it's better. I adjusted some settings. I worked with the equipment. So hopefully it's not going to be as echoey as it was last week, but thank you very much for the feedback. I do appreciate it. Earlier this year, I predicted that we'd start to see a lot of interesting twists and unique takes on gourmand fragrances, using notes inspired by alcohol drinks or more savory gourmands, more Eastern fragrance notes, and we're starting to see that come up more and more, such as in this new release by Maison Margiela. This is called Never Ending Summer, and if we look at the notes, with top notes of Aperol, bitter orange, and pepper, a mid of Earl Grey tea, cardamom, nutmeg, and then a base of vetiver, patchouli, and cedarwood, we see a woody aromatic fragrance that still has some gourmand touches, albeit in a new and slightly more innovative way. It's clearly a fragrance inspired by an Aperol, inspired by drinking it in the summertime, and it does have those like Eastern fragrance notes, such as with the tea. So this is an example of a gourmand fragrance that has a new and fresh take on the whole gourmand flavor or gourmand scent profile. So I personally am really excited about this release. I think Replica does vetiver in a way that I really love. It's a really approachable way. It's not too earthy, and I'm really interested in smelling this particular fragrance, especially since I love Aperol kind of scents. I think Spritz Love by J.U.S Parfums is one of my favorite scents with this kind of bitter orange scent profile, so I'm looking forward to smelling this as well. Another new release is by Jo Loves. This is the brand created by Jo Malone. If you're unaware, she actually sold her namesake brand and later relaunched another brand called Jo Loves. So when you look at Jo Malone, she's actually not behind her own brand anymore, Jo Malone. Jo Loves is actually her brand. So Jo Loves has a new launch called Pomelo Oud, and this fragrance will have notes of pomelo, orange, and pink pepper at the top, a heart of magnolia, rose absolute, and jasmine, and then a base of cedarwood, patchouli, oud, and vetiver. We're starting to see more and more oud fragrances pop up in like the general fragrance category, and I do think that this is going to continue in 2025. I haven't tried any of the Jo Loves fragrances. I know that her collaboration with Zara was really successful. I haven't tried this. Have you tried from the brand Jo Loves? And also, I'm kind of really curious as to where I can get this. I don't know if this is only available in the UK. Oh, wait. Okay, this is inspired by her residence in Dubai. So she's celebrating her new home with this fragrance. So I don't know if this is going to be a Dubai exclusive or not. I don't think it would be, but it's not available just yet, but this is coming. Okay, so moving on, we have some new fragrance releases by Klage. I usually don't talk about so many Middle Eastern fragrance releases in these kinds of videos because, to be honest, there's so many different ones, but I did want to occasionally spotlight some ones that I find interesting, and we have two new releases from Klage. They're launching 2 new flankers of their Nuha fragrance. So there they have Nuha Vanilla Pearl and a cherry version as well. Let's look at the Vanilla Pearl fragrance first. So this has top notes of blackcurrant, strawberry, and freesia, a mid of raspberry, magnolia, cashmere wood, and then a base of vanilla caramel and moss. On the other hand, Cherry Blush will include notes of cherry, rum, and red wine at the top, a mid of raspberry, jasmine, cedar, orris, and rose, and then a base of sandalwood, labdanum, vanilla, vetiver, tonka, and musk. Interestingly enough, I'm actually really interested in the cherry version of this fragrance, specifically because of that red wine note. I find red wine such a fascinating note when it comes to perfumery because it adds like a tartness to a fragrance that's really intriguing. And yeah, it's a note that I've really been loving and I've really been drawn to it. So I'm super curious to see how this will smell or how this will come across. So yeah, this is a release I'm looking forward to. I think I'll try a decant of this. I think someone mentioned last week that I should have decants of all the new releases that I talk about. And I'll be completely honest with you, that is not possible because I talk about 16 to 20 new fragrances each week, and getting 16 to 20 decants of niche fragrances that are sometimes not even released is really difficult. This series is meant to inform you of what's coming, so you can go search for these fragrances and you can look for more information on these fragrances yourself. Of course, if I have the new release with me, then I will share it. But yeah, this is something that I will be getting a decant of, I'm sure, so you will probably see me talking about this in future videos. This is something that I am actually really excited about. Okay, so something else that I've really been intrigued by, and this went on the wish list almost immediately when I saw this, but this is a collection from Oscar London, and this is called the Nota collection, inspired by the musical notes of Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si. So, or wait, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol. Wait, no, yeah, 5. Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol. Yeah, okay. So 5 new fragrances from Oscar London. This brand was initially introduced to me by Greta Beth. I was watching her stories and she was in Essence and she came across this brand and she had a lot of really positive things to say about these fragrances, and I was so curious about them. And one specifically is a fragrance that I really want, and I might just blind buy it. I know I say I don't do that, or I know I discourage you guys from doing that, but I'm so tempted to blind buy this one fragrance because it sounds absolutely divine. So let's look at the notes and the fragrances themselves. So we have Doe with notes of fruity notes at the top, white rose, saffron, and passion fruit, amid of fruity notes, patchouli, benzoin, and mango, and then a base of labdanum, vanilla, leather, ambergris, and mate. Ray is a fragrance with top notes of ginger, peach, and Italian lemon, a mid of osmanthus, jasmine, and orange blossom, and then a base of sandalwood, patchouli, and immortelle. Me is the one that I really want, and this has top notes of raspberry, meringue, ginger, and lemon, a mid of Bulgarian rose, cotton candy, magnolia, and jasmine, and then a base of white musk, cedar, vanilla, and amber. Fa is a fragrance with top notes of grapefruit, bergamot, mandarin, verbena, and apple, a mid of clary, sage, white rose, violet, fennel, and aldehydes. Oh, that sounds really good. And then a base of white musk, patchouli, ambergris, vetiver, and matcha tea. That sounds so good. Then Soul is a fragrance with top notes of cedar, needles, bergamot, frankincense, and damask rose, a mid of lavender, cinnamon, leather, bergamotha, and iris, and then a base of white musk, patchouli, labdanum, ambergris, and suede. So, yeah, Sergei Borisov is the author of this article on Fragrantica, and he's tried all of them, and he did say that these are standalone fragrances that he does not recommend layering. He says that these are really complex perfumes, and looking at this, I am really intrigued by this brand. I was trying to find a discovery set for them online, and I couldn't. This collection is currently available for pre-order. I am literally considering pre-ordering Me. Like, I love the idea of a cotton candy inspired fragrance, and Greta did say that this is a very realistic cotton candy scent, and I haven't really smelled cotton candy like in a fragrance before in the way she was describing in her video. I would recommend going to watch her video where she talked about the new Essence releases, because she did do like a very detailed overview on some of the new releases there. But I am so tempted by this, and it's actually not a bad price. I don't know if I've already mentioned that or not, but these fragrances are, I think, $190 US, which is not a bad price at all. That's actually pretty affordable considering how much you get, and also the quality, or the apparent quality, of the bottles. I haven't touched the bottles themselves. I haven't experienced these fragrances in person, of course, but I can see based off of the videos and based off of people's feedback that this does seem to be a collection that's going to get a lot of hype. So I am very intrigued by it. Next up, we have a new release by Phlur. They're launching a new body mist, and this will be called Vanilla Smoke. It's essentially supposed to be a seductive vanilla. I am really intrigued by this because the whole marketing of this fragrance is really dark and edgy, but this is supposed to be a pretty wearable vanilla. So I am super intrigued by it. This has top notes of bergamot, pink pepper, and birch, a mid of cacao blanc, cashmere vanilla, and tonka bean, and then a base of incense, peru balsam, and amber. This seems really intriguing. I have vanilla skin in my collection already, so I'm super curious to see how this fragrance, or how this body mist will smell. I think I'll try and get a decant of this. But yeah, this looks really intriguing. And in terms of pricing, Phlur is usually not bad when it comes to their pricing. Their 3-ounce sizes run for $25, and then 8-ounce can run you $38. Of course, I'd recommend getting the smaller size first, but I am really intrigued by this launch. I feel like Phlur in general, the way they do their body mist, like, they're super wearable, but they're also like relatively unique and interesting fragrances. I mean, they're not like super, off the beaten path, but they're definitely unique and intriguing and still wearable enough to actually reach for. So I am really interested in this release. I think this incense note will be like the perfect thing to transition between the cold weather and the warmer months. So this does seem intriguing. We also have a new launch from Rasi. They're launching Haas Pink. If you're unfamiliar, Haas is one of their top sellers. They have the male leading version, then they have the feminine one, Haas Perfume, which I have, love, and do recommend. And this time they're coming out with another flanker called Haas Pink. And this particular fragrance will have top notes of neroli, essential Egyptian, cinnamon, and nutmeg, a mid of orange flower, tuberose, and golden marshmallow, and then a base of cotton candy, vanilla, tonka bean, absolute. I'm intrigued by this. I think I'll get a decant of this. I know I keep saying that, but like, so many of these releases do seem to be rather intriguing, and rather special. There are not a lot of releases that I've like seen so far that I'm kind of like, I'm probably not gonna get this or try this. This does seem intriguing. I'm curious to see how much of a marshmallow fragrance this will be. Are they trying to do Kale Yambushi marshmallow? And if you guys have seen my commentary on that fragrance, I actually did buy it and I tried it. That fragrance to me did not last, and that was such a sad experience for me because I love the way that fragrance smells, but it does not last on me. If they come out with that fragrance in a body mist form, I will buy it. I will be first in line to buy it, but I cannot pay for the perfume and have that kind of longevity. That just did not work for me. Maybe this will be a better alternative. I'm not sure. I do love that marshmallow trend though. Next, we have a new fragrance by Tom Ford. This is Eau de Soleil Blanc, just in time for the summertime. We have top notes of bitter orange, neroli, bergamot, citron, pistachio, petitgrain, cardamom, pink pepper, and caraway. A mid of tuberose, Tunisian orange blossom, ylang ylang, jasmine, and galbanum, and then a base of coconut, vanilla, tonka bean, amber, and benzoin. I am not going to get this. I mean, you guys know that I'm not like, Tom Ford is not the fragrance brand for me. Like, this is something that I'll most likely pass on. I will try it in store, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like Tom Ford fragrances, I mean, they're designers at the end of the day. They're kind of overpriced in my opinion. I like the scent profiles. I don't love the longevity. This will be a pass for me, but if this is something that interests you, definitely check it out. We have a new fragrance by Inicio. This will be called Power Self. This is a fragrance that plays around with musk with top notes of pink pepper, a made of white rose, magnolia, and osmanthus, and then a base of musk, cedarwood, and sandalwood. I can't say I'll be going out of my way to get this fragrance. Initio is not like, I appreciate them as a fragrance house, but they're not one of my absolute favorites in the entire world. I think that some of their fragrances are really good, but I haven't ever put their bottles on my wish list, and that's not to neg the brand at all. They're just not fragrances that I've ever gravitated towards. But I am really curious about this play on musk. I think this will be really interesting. So if I see this, I will try this. But if you're a fan of musk and you're looking for something new, this might be a good one to check out as well. We have a new launch by Bvlgari. This is called Allegra in CM. And this is a fragrance for women. This perfume will have notes of mandarin at the top, a mid peony, and then a base of cedarwood, patchouli, and musk. This seems interesting. I'm not going out of my way to try it out, but I feel like in general with all the Bvlgari fragrances, I want to try them in store. I want to try them in store. I want to see how they perform. I want to see the scent profiles. I'm really curious about this line. I do love the bottle design. I think it's really unique and interesting. So the general aesthetics of this brand I really appreciate, but I just haven't tried any of their fragrances, so I really can't speak to them. Memo is launching a new fragrance called Portobello Road. This perfume will have top notes of mandarin essence, myrtle essence, and green leaf, a mid of rose essence, rose absolute, and clary sage, and then a base of vetiver, patchouli, and rain accord. I can't say that I'm super interested in this fragrance. When it comes to Memo in general, they're one of those classic brands that's been around for a really long time, and I can appreciate the legacy of the brand, but I'm not like someone who's chomping at the bit to get a Memo fragrance. They're just not fragrances that align with my style. So I typically don't go for Memo fragrances, so this will probably be a pass for me. But if you're someone who enjoys Memo fragrances, this does look really interesting. I'm quite intrigued by that rain accord. I feel like that would make this a really pretty fragrance to wear in the springtime as well. So yeah, not my cup of tea personally, so this will be a pass. But I do love the art and the design on the bottle itself. We have a new launch from Giorgio Armani's private collection. This perfume is called Iris Blue. This fragrance will have notes of galban and bergamot and lemon at the top, a mid of iris butter and jasmine, and then a base of white musk, Virginia cedarwood, and gaiac wood. Not gonna lie, I am so tempted by the idea of like iris butter. That sounds absolutely delicious. This could be like that perfect everyday fragrance to wear if you love iris. I will say that is like the hero note when it comes to the scent composition. In my opinion, this is definitely the note that's like catching my attention the most. So I'm intrigued by this. It's definitely going to be on my to smell list for sure. In the marketing brief, they're saying the main ingredient in this new fragrance is iris. It's one of the rarest and most expensive raw materials in perfumery, often referred to as blue gold. It gets carefully hand harvested in Italy, specifically in August, and needs at least 3 years of cultivation before the first flavoring is extracted. Iris butter, another precious ingredient, is used from this blend and can be obtained by using about 1 kilograms from 3 tons of rhizomes. Wow. Okay, that's really cool. So yeah, definitely something on the to smell list. This is of course going to be like super upscale pricing naturally, but this is something I'm curious to smell. Another fine fragrance that I'm really interested in perhaps exploring a little bit further is from Lancome. This is called Rose from the Dark. Now, I'm probably not going to get this fragrance because do I need another rose fragrance? Definitely not. And I don't know about you guys, but I've really been working hard to cultivate my fragrances and make a mental note of, okay, this is a fragrance I need in my collection. This is a fragrance I don't because I already have some similar options. And as many of you might already know, I have a lot of rose fragrances. I don't need another rose fragrance, but this does seem quite intriguing, so I want to cover the notes. So this will have top notes of a white musk accord, and then a heart of an ambery wood accord, and then a base of rose centrifolia of the domain. So Again, pretty simplistic, but I was looking at the bottle. I like the general aesthetic. This is something I would be curious about trying. I think they have some other fine fragrances in this line that I definitely do want to test as well. But realistically, this is not something that I need in my collection. Again, I'm trying to be more mindful and more intentional with my purchases. There are some other fragrances that I mentioned that I consider to be more unique and more special. So I would like to direct my attention or direct those fragrances and add them to my wish list. This is not going to be on my wish list because it's not really giving me anything new or interesting, but this is something I'm curious about regardless. Another interesting new release is by Carolina Herrera. They're launching a limited edition, I believe, version of Good Girl, and this is called basically Super Luxe Swarovski. They come out with these kind of limited edition bottle designs of the Good Girl fragrances. And this fragrance will have top notes of almond, a heart of jasmine sambac and tuberose cristal, and then a base of tonka bean and cocoa. This particular fragrance will have 2,000 hand-set Swarovski crystals in varying shades of aquamarine and sapphire. So again, this is supposed to be attention grabbing. It's supposed to be that collector's edition item. This is not going to be something that I need to get. I'm not the target demographic for this. I do not need this, but this is one of those things that's just fun to look at for me personally. But if you happen to really love Good Girl and you want a collector's edition, there you go. They just came out with one. And I will say this does seem to be one of my favorite designs because it looks like a Cinderella slipper. It looks like a Cinderella slipper if Cinderella was a little bit more edgy and she liked a really high heel. So yeah, this does look really interesting. Speaking of limited edition bottle designs from established houses, we have a limited edition version of Velvet Zafferano from Dolce & Gabbana. This fragrance will have notes of saffron, a heart of tobacco leaves, and then a base of patchouli, vanilla, and labdanum. I've mentioned this before in previous videos, but there are some fragrances that get released that I look at them and I'm like, okay, if money was no object, if I was really interested in this fragrance, I would get this. But since I am on a budget, I can't really picture myself getting certain fragrances, and this is one of them because what would I do with this? You know, it's limited edition, it's not necessarily like too much of a unique fragrance, but I can appreciate it for what it is, a beautiful bottle, a beautiful looking fragrance, and I can show it to you guys, but this is not something that I'm going to get personally because I don't need this in my collection. This is not something that necessarily speaks to me personally, but I just think it looks pretty, so I just wanted to show this to you as well. There are so many fragrances that just look pretty, but they don't necessarily need to go into my collection, you know? And I definitely do think that this series kind of covers a few of them, but this is certainly one of them. And also the Carolina Herrera one. I mean, it's nice. Do I need it? No. But is it beautiful to look at? Absolutely. So there's a Mexican fragrance house that's getting more and more attention. They released a new vetiver fragrance, and this fragrance house is called Zenu, and the new fragrance is called Veti Verde. I love that play on words. That's so interesting. But this is an aromatic, fresh, spicy perfume with top notes of green notes and grapefruit, a mid of geranium and Palo Santo, and then a base of tonka bean and vetiver. I will say the general aesthetic of this is giving Dubai chocolate, and I know that was probably not their intention because like there's no gourmand notes in here. But I look at this and I think Dubai chocolate, and I cannot be the only one. So it's just kind of interesting because, I mean, I can't imagine people will get this fragrance and like buy it thinking that they're going to get a Dubai chocolate fragrance. But it's interesting when we look at how information spreads online, when we associate or when we see certain color combinations or, you know, certain themes, our brains start to automatically associate those combinations or those visuals with something else that's completely unrelated. So again, it's interesting because in my mind I feel like the whole green and brown combination has completely been dominated by the Dubai chocolate trend. So now I think whenever I see that color combination, I instantly just assume that there's some kind of chocolate pistachio combination going on, no matter what it is. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm the only one that thinks that, but this does seem intriguing. I am curious about this brand. The bottle design does look like just the right touch of avant-garde and still functional. So this looks intriguing. I'm probably not going to get this, most likely not, but I am curious about learning more about this brand. Bond Number 9 is launching a new fragrance called Greenpoint. This will have top notes of juicy pear, bergamot zest, pimento leaf, and fresh cardamom, amid of rose essence, magnolia accord, sour jasmine, and marine notes, and then a base of blonde cedar, tree moss, sea amber, musk, vetiver roots, and vegan umbrella tide. I do not like Bond Number 9. I think their bottles look tacky. I do think that there is an audience for this. People seem to really appreciate Bond Number 9. For me personally, I'm not a huge fan of Bond Number 9. I can't really reconcile with the idea of spending that much on a bottle that looks this tacky, and that's just my personal opinion. But this fragrance does look like, or does sound like it would smell good. It does sound intriguing. So if this is something that appeals to you, definitely go for it. But for me personally, I think the bottle does look a little bit tacky. So I don't know. It's a new release from Bond Number 9. Is it my cup of tea? No. But it might be yours. And that's okay. Okay then, so that's it for this video. Those are all the fragrances I wanted to share with you. I would say out of this video, the highlights are definitely Me from Oscar London. That fragrance is officially on my wish list. I think I will be trying that fragrance out. I am really intrigued by it. It seems fascinating. And then Vanilla Smoke from Phlur. I'm also really interested in trying that one out as well. We'll see how that goes. What else? The Cherry fragrance from Klage. That wine note is really intriguing to me. And I think those were the highlights. Also, Maison Margiela Never Ending Summer. So those are the top 4 for me. I am most excited about the Oscar London release, but the other ones also do look good as well. Let me know what stood out to you. Thank you so much for watching until the end of the video, and I will see you tomorrow.